Hello folks, welcome to Netcruzer RC. Today we're going to do a quick little overview of a new RC that I picked up, and it's actually my very first RC from this brand. I got an Axial, and I picked up the Wraith Spawn. This is by no means a new model on the market. Actually, it's been out for quite a few years. I believe this one is about 4 going on 5 years old now. The Wraith platform has been around since around 2011, 2012, I believe. This one was the revision that came out at around 2014, which added an unlicensed body and a couple of internal revision changes. But this is considered a rock racer, 1/10 scale rock racer, solid axles, fully locked differentials, and it has a brushed motor. Let me just show you a bit more about what comes with this vehicle, and then we'll get it out of the box. I gotta say, the box art is ace. Like, this really pops. When a box like this is on the shelf at your hobby store, it grabs your attention for sure. This is bigger than it actually is in real life, so that's really cool. All over the whole box. That's the other thing, it has a full Jeep style cage as well. So it is a Wraith platform. We can take a closer look at it. This is the Wraith Spawn, so you get a fully tubed Jeep style chassis. I do think that this looks very scale. A lot of people call this thing a cheater truck because it's got 2.2 tires. It's got some pretty aggressive style crawling ability, but nowadays everyone's all into the scale trucks, and these have kind of taken a backseat a little bit to the scale trucks, but it has a couple of unique things that I really like, and it fits my style a little bit more. It is a bit faster. It has a 20-turn brushed motor, as opposed to a lot of the crawlers nowadays have 35-turn motors, very slow. This one, I think, is going to be pretty quick out the box for a crawler. Other unique things, it has Method branded beadlock wheels, 2.2-inch tires, rip jaws, rip saws or something. Very nice. Oh, yeah, here it is. Ripsaw tire, water resistant receiver box. The electronic speed control is an AE5, which I've heard is a rebranded hobby wing. The other unique things about the Wraith Spawn, because this is the revision, receiver box is sealed, waterproof. The hobby wing ESC is waterproof. You get a new upgraded double clutch, slipper clutch system. All of these extra things. Oh yeah, the axles are beefier too. The AR60 axles. Another improvement over the original Wraith Spawn is you get the Wild Boar 8 heavy duty axles. These are a little bit stronger than the original Wraith center driveline axle. Also, the electronics have been revised, so you now get a Tactic TTX 300 transmitter, antennaless SLT Tactic receiver. You do get some molded bodies, but they are half bodies. The original Wraith had room where you could put in a full action figure, like a wrestling sized figure. You cannot do that on the Spawn. It's just a half Lexan shell, which I'll show you afterward. Oh, here, you can see it here. You just have the torso. I wish that they had to put a little plate here to cover that up, and then you could run it cage with it looking kind of goofy that he's see-through. But anyway, they didn't. Servo too, the Tactic TX45, which is 151 ounce inches. I mean, it's not hugely powerful, but 151 ounce inches is not terrible for a ready-to-run radio. These wheels are pin drive. They're not hex drive, they're pin drive, which kind of sucks. But back 5 years ago, things were kind of just transitioning from pin to hex for a lot of the crawlers and even race cars. I have some older race cars that ran on pins, and now everything's a 12mm hex. If you look at the box art, they pretty much say that it's a do-anything machine, that it can do off-road, mountains, rocky, desert, 2.4 gigahertz, rock racer. So this is going to be a little bit different than my normal unboxings because I have actually been using it. So I took it out because this is my first Axial. I didn't want to just take it out of the box and show you what it's like because, like I said, this machine is old. So a lot of other RC channels have done it. Some of those first unboxings that you may see from 5 years ago, there has been some internal revisions to this. Well, first of all, the transmitter has been revised. I mean, nowadays this comes with everything, but this is the TTX 300 transmitter, and previously it was an older AX2 or something, AX3, I don't know what it was, but it wasn't one of these. These are just more comfortable to hold. I still don't like how the foam is tapered because it has that little lip on it, but that's very nitpicky, gripey. I mean, you can get a new wheel if you want, or a new rubber if you want for your transmitter. But overall, these are great. The biggest downside to these is they're one model only. So that's why I prefer Traxxas radios, is because you can pair them with multiple models. You cannot do that on Tactic, at least not with the ready-to-run versions. The truck. I am a novice when it comes to these. I don't know a whole lot about them, but they are fully solid linked axles. You get a lot of twist, right? You get a lot of articulation in the chassis. That's what's cool about them. Also, you get the big 2.2-inch tires, and it is some plastic drive shafts and things of that nature, but yeah, this is a Wraith Spawn. Now, the Wraith Spawn is a little bit cheaper because you're not paying for a licensed Jeep style body. This body is a knockoff, but it's Axial's own design body, but I actually really like how it's scooped. It's got this SUV style. It's actually got a really nice look to it, in my opinion. I really like how this body looks. Now, this body is bolted on by 4 hex screws, which I'll pop off right now, and I'll show you what it looks like under the hood. So you need a 1.5mm hex, and then you can just pop these screws out. They're just little bitty screws. I don't know if that's going to be great over time, because it's just a little screw. It's probably going to get pretty easily lost. I may look at doing some sort of a Velcro style system, which will improve it, but for now, the screws are fine. Like I said, I have had this out of the box. I have been running it, so we'll see how long this video goes. I might throw in some of the first run of this vehicle from the outdoors in this, but for now, I just wanted to give you a quick overview. Take those 4 screws out. Now the body will come right off, and it comes off very easily. The body is a standard Lexan shell. It has no protection on the inside. It's got these little cutouts on the front for hooking in over the front bumper. And then this is what the vehicle looks like without the body shell on it. And I must say, this is really cool just like this as well. I really like this look. The reason why I picked this up is because I saw a lot of my RC friends that I hang out with virtually are buying those SMT-10s, which have recently been discontinued. And the thing I don't like about the SMT-10, which is the monster truck version of Axial's RC, is they're really slow. They come with a 35 turn brushed motor, and if you want to get any kind of good performance out of those, you have to do upgrades to make them fun, in my opinion. With this, at least I'm getting a 20 turn brushed motor, and it sits right in here. It's very dark in there, but it sits in there. I'll bring in the camera so you can see this a little bit better. This is the Wraith Spawn. The cool thing about the receiver box is it's got this motor style look to it, and since this is the newer version, it does not have an antenna, so that really improves the look of it when you're just driving around like this. That's super cool because it looks like your motor. The SMT-10 also has that feature. The shocks are all plastic bodied shocks, but it is a threaded body. This is the first time I've ever had an RC that has a plastic threaded body, which is pretty neat. So you can adjust those, although I've been running it stock out of the box, and it feels a little stiff. You get a Lexan driver, the head does turn, you get your passenger seat is open, but it does not go as deep as the original Wraith. And this is your APS-C tray, which is kind of in the way. I didn't realize before, but this APS-C tray is just kind of pivoting here. So that's the APS-C, and it is 2S and 3S capable. The battery tray is in the back, and that is one of the downsides to competition running a Wraith, is that a lot of the weight is on the back. Some people do mods that bring it forward, but I am not familiar enough with this platform to know how to do that or what parts you need to do that, but there is a huge aftermarket for these vehicles, been out since originally 2012. A lot of the original Wraith parts are still compatible with this vehicle. It is all plastic. All the links are plastic. Upper links, lower links are all plastic. Front steering links are all plastic. It's not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but when you're looking at a vehicle that is $400 plus, it's a lot of plastic. The other change has been, finally now they come with Deans. When I watched some of the original Wraith Spawn unboxings, they came with Tamiya plugs, which I thought was crazy. But now they come with the Deans out of the box, so that's great. And the battery tray is big enough to fit a standard stick pack LiPo. It holds in here with Velcro, and I'm just using this super tiny 4,000 milliamp hour Venom battery right now, but you can put a full stick pack in here, no problem. It's just Velcro and Velcro, and you can cinch it down, and there's quite a bit of room for batteries in here. Are the 60, what they call 60 axles, and the pumpkins are offside, and then there's a big structural bar here. So these look very strong. I don't think anyone's been blowing up these axles, actually. I think they're very, very strong. The other thing that's surprising about Axial in general, as this is my first time with one, is just the crazy amount of spare parts that you get. It's things that you would normally think you would have to go and buy if you break. They give you a lot of stuff. So let me just go through it here. This is all servo saver parts and additional pieces and some sort of, there's a big tube here. I don't know if that's for a rear bumper or some sort of a servo mount or something. I don't know. This here is, we've got heads. Look at, there's even a, there's like a skull head, race style helmet, axles. You get a new center, there's a center drive shaft axle, two of them, 2 or 3 axles in here. Like, that's crazy. There's spare parts in here, turnbuckles, and a bunch of other little odds and ends. That is a lot of extra parts that I've never seen given with any other kind of ready-to-run RC. That is absurd, but awesome to see. Of course, you do get your standard book of materials, so you get your exploded parts diagram and some instructions and something about the radio system, as well as there was this little protection tag that was on the vehicle when I first opened it up. The ESC is already set for LiPo cutoff, and if you want to run nickel metal hydride, you have to set the jumper on the ESC. 2 jumpers on it. The first one is for LiPo, and the other one is for drag brake. It comes out of the box set to 100% drag brake, and the other option is to set it for 50% drag brake. In the first runs that I've been running it, I've had it running it around box stock with the 100% drag brake, and I've been having a good time with it. Running footage will actually carry over into a secondary video because this one's been going on for quite some time.
Oh, you weird.
All right, so that's it. That's my first Axial RC, is a Wraith Spawn, and so far I'm quite impressed with it. As well as it just gives me a lot of unique parts that I didn't have otherwise. I've got the 2.2-inch tires, I've got a nice Jeep body, and I love the cage. The cage is super cool. I'm probably gonna run this stock for a while, and then eventually I thought I might do a monster or a mud truck conversion to this. So I could easily do that by just putting on monster truck tires or mud style tires. I feel like this was the most versatile platform for me to be able to change it up and do some cool little videos with it later on. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed this or you learned something, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.